Hey guys, what is up? It is Big Red Reviews here. This is my spoiler review for Endgame. I haven't made a video on Endgame because I had a very busy 2 days. I saw it Thursday night, and then I saw it at noon on Friday, and then I saw it Friday night. So I didn't really have time to make a video because I was just seeing it back to back to back. I'm seeing it tonight again. This is Saturday if you didn't know. Endgame was a very satisfying conclusion to me to the Infinity Saga. I liked it way more than Infinity War. It was kind of slow in the beginning, like the first half and kind of the second act, but it really worked for me because you see them recouping from this snap. I'm just going to get into the parts I really liked. I really liked how Tony gets rescued right away because I didn't want that to be like a main focus of him trying to get rescued, and then we see him interacting with Cap for the first time, and it's not like you expect. It's not like them burying the hatchet. Like it's really cool because they act like Civil War didn't really happen right away. He's like, I lost the kid, and Tony's like, and Cap's like, we lost, and then Tony's in the wheelchair and he starts getting mad, which is understandable because he thought they would have something on Thanos, but they don't. But luckily Nebula has. I really liked how the movie opened with Hawkeye's family getting snapped. I mean, we kind of figured that happened, but I really liked that we saw that. I really like how they kill Thanos right away, and they go there. I really like Thor's character arc in this movie. So they kill Thanos. They go to the planet. He's just farming. He doesn't want to fight. He's just trying to make some mangoes or whatever. And basically, you find out that he used the stone to destroy the stones, and Thor beheads him. And you think, oh yeah, Thor killed Thanos, but then they realize there's no way they can fix this universe. And this leads to Thor's character arc of him. He basically becomes fat in this movie. Fat and like a slob. Him, Korg, and Meek are just drinking and eating pizza all day, every day for 5 years. And I can see how some people wouldn't like it, but I really like how this fits his character arc because, his whole goal was to kill Thanos. He didn't kill Thanos. Thanos snaps. He finally kills Thanos, but then nothing happens. He just killed Thanos. Like he said later in the movie, he was just an idiot with an axe. So they basically 5 years goes by and they're trying to basically just still be the Avengers, but the world is still shit. And then Ant-Man comes out of his van through the rat. The rat steps on the button, and he basically talks about how time travel, because he was only in there for 5 hours when it was actually 5 years. And so they start trying to see who could build a time machine. They go to Tony, but Tony retired with Pepper and his daughter at a lake, and he just says he doesn't want anything to do with it, but it's Tony, and he starts working on it. He's like, it's okay if it doesn't work, but he makes a time machine. But the Avengers don't know that, so they go to Banner, who is now fused with Hulk, and it's Professor Hulk. You get some very funny moments with some kid trying to get a selfie with him, and it's really weird at first, but it really works for him, and I'm really glad that we see more of Hulk. They make this time travel machine, and they go. So Thor and Rocket go back to Thor 2, which is kind of a forgotten movie in the MCU. That Incredible Hulk. If you don't remember, Thor's mom dies in that movie, and so they go and Jane has the reality stone in her, so they're trying to suck the reality stone out of her, and Thor's like this whole mess, and he actually sees his mom, but his mom I really like how they didn't spend a lot of time with like trying to make the mom understand and the mom not freaking out because she was raised by witches, so she understands, and he tells her everything that's happened to him, and she basically helps him because he was like, I was just an idiot with an axe, and she's like, you failed, but failure is not, you learn from failure, like Yoda said. And I love that little interaction. She's like, no, this was a gift. Rocket gets the reality stone, and they go back to the present. Then you have War Machine and Nebula going to Morag, which is the beginning of Guardians 1, which is really funny because you see how in Guardians 1 you always have these 80s music playing, and I really like how you see it from the real world perspective of just him listening to music in the headphones. He's just singing out loud. That was really funny to me. They basically knock Quill out and get his little device, and they get the Power Stone, Power Stone, I'm stupid. And War Machine goes back with the Power Stone, but then Nebula starts flipping out because her eyes. So basically you see earlier 2014 Thanos, Nebula, and Gamora. If you remember, Gamora right at this time was still with Thanos because this is before she went to Xandar and met the Guardians. And their eyes start, because they're interlinked, because they're robots, so they start interlinking because now there's another Nebula in the timeline. And basically, 2014 Thanos finds out about these people trying to get the stones, and he finds out how they're from a future where he actually succeeded. And I really like the use of Thanos because instead of the generic, Thanos is still out there with the gauntlet and stones. They kill him right away, and you see an earlier version of Thanos. And then, so War Machine goes back, Thanos abducts Nebula and basically finds out the plans, and then they send 2014 Nebula, looking like present-day Nebula, to the present day as a spy, and she sends Thanos' ship up. So that's their arc. And then you have Hulk, Ant-Man, Cap and Tony going back to the Battle of New York, which was really cool. What was really cool about this is you see the events right after the ending of Avengers, because you remember when he's like, I would really Loki, and all of them are standing above Loki, and they're like, I would like that drink now, and you just see them cutting, and they're all drinking and stuff, and the people from Winter Soldier come, and obviously they didn't have these characters planned back then, but it really ties in well. You see the characters from Winter Soldier come and take the Tesseract and all that and go, or not the Tesseract, the Scepter or whatever, and they all meet up, and then Cap goes into this elevator because they have this because the guy who plays Crossbones is there, and they're in there, and it's really alluding to the Winter Soldier. Remember, he's like before whatever, does anybody want to get out? But he doesn't say that. He's really smart because he knows they're Hydra. He says, it's okay, hail Hydra, and he takes the scepter and he goes. But then he fights his younger self and he beats him. That's America's ass. He takes the scepter and he brings it back, but Tony and Ant-Man get the Tesseract, but Hulk knocks it out of Tony's hands because he's pissed he has to take the stairs. And basically Loki looks at it, picks it. This is 2012 Loki. Picks it up and he just goes through a portal. Now, this could be two things. One, it could be setting up Loki's TV show, or two, it could have been fixed when they went back to the 70s to get the Tesseract, because it could have set up. We don't know where currently this could lead us. We don't know if this is fixed. We don't know if this is setting up the TV show. We don't know anything, but we will find out soon. We have Hulk going to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and if you remember Doctor Strange, I forgot her name, she's there, and you find out that she was fighting in the Battle of New York this whole time. You just didn't see her because obviously in the Avengers, 2012, they didn't plan Doctor Strange yet, and he's basically trying to get the Time Stone, but she's like, if I give you the Time Stone, it's gonna leave my reality vulnerable. It may fix your reality, but it's gonna leave mine to be destroyed. And Hulk's like, but what if we bring the stones back to right when they were stolen, and that would fix the timeline? And she's still reluctant, but he's like, then why did Strange give it to him? And she's like, okay, well then that means it must have worked out, so here. And she gives Hulk the Time Stone. Then you have, so basically Tony and Cap go back to 1970, they get more Pym particles, and they get the Tesseract, and Tony gets to talk with his dad, which is, I really like that because since Tony dies at the end, I really like how he gets an interaction with his father, and how his father says he'll do anything for him. And then Cap goes in Peggy's office on accident, and he sees Peggy through the window, and then he continues with his mission, and they come back with the Tesseract. And then you have Flint and Natasha are going to Vormir, and obviously they didn't know, but one of them had to sacrifice themselves to get the Soul Stone. They start fighting, and Clint goes to jump off, and I thought he was going there. I thought Clint was going, but Natasha's like, well, my family is here. I want to save them. Clint can still save his family, and they'll be back. She jumps off with him, attaches like a thing to the wall, and they fall, and he's holding her, and she's like, let me go, and he lets her go. Well, she jumps off the wall, and she dies, but he gets the Soul Stone. So they all come back to the present. Tony makes a gauntlet. Well, they start getting, they find out about Natasha, and they have this really cool moment on this like little dock, and they start like Thor's still in denial, like, you know, he's still in this character arc phase, and he's like, why are you talking like she's dead? She's not dead. We can bring her back with the stones. And they're trying to tell him like, no, you can't. And Hawkeye's like, why don't you do it? You know, get your hammer and go talk to the floating red guy. But they all come together because they know Natasha would have wanted them to finish this. Tony makes the gauntlet, and they're figuring out who can do it, but Banner's like, I'm the only one that can do it. I have the better chance of surviving. He starts flipping out, but the other Nebula, who's actually 2014 Nebula, but they think is present Nebula, like I said earlier, brings the ship up right when so Hulk snaps everyone back into existence, and Ant-Man goes to this window, and you see all these birds in the sunlight. He's like, guys, we did it. And Hulk looks up, and you just see a missile come, boom, explodes the Avengers compound, and all the Avengers get split up a little bit. And I called it. I was like, they're fighting in the Avengers HQ. It looks like it. So Hawkeye lands right next to the gauntlet, and he's getting chased by those things from Infinity War, but he gets it up, and then the 2014 Nebula is there, and he's like, oh, I know you, and you think she gets it, but then present-day Nebula and 2014 Gamora come, and basically present-day Nebula ends up shooting her younger self, and that's all good. Tony and Cap are there, and then so it's Tony, Cap, and Thor looking at Thanos. and they start fighting him a little bit. Then you find out Hulk is holding up most of the superstructure, and Ant-Man comes and saves Hulk, War Machine, and Rocket. And basically, so they're all on the field. Then they get their asses whooped by Thanos, and then everyone's knocked out. And then Cap is there. His shield's broken in half, and he stands up and he tightens it. He has a really cool shot of him with the whole army there, and I really like how Cap does that, and because that fits his character. Like, he's gonna fight to the end, and right when you think he's about to go in against his whole army, you hear hello, and then it's like staticky, like, this is Sam on your left, and that's a callback to Winter Soldier. When they used to like jog and stuff, he would say on your left, and all of a sudden all these portals open up. Black Panther comes back, all the characters who got snapped come back, and all these Sorcerer Supremes come back. It's just everyone that almost anyone with a power, with a certain power that you've met in the past 10, 11 years in the MCU is there versus all of Thanos. It's like the perfect ending. And Cap. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so Cap can wield Mjolnir now. That's my favorite scene in the movie. Thor's about to die, and you see the hammer get picked up, and it gets thrown, and then Cap catches it, and so Cap is worthy. And so he calls for Mjolnir, and he says, "Avengers assemble," which is an iconic line from the comics. Hell breaks loose. Everyone starts fighting. Tony and Peter share a moment. I really like how this, because, you know, look at Aquaman, for example, which is just a big CGI fight. This could have easily been another one of those fights, but it focuses on certain characters. Like, you see past Gamora, who doesn't know who Krill is, and Krill's trying to like kiss her, and she punches him in the nuts. And you see Peter talking to Tony like, "Oh, I was asleep." I really like how Peter and Tony got one special moment before Tony went. And Tony basically asked Strange, he's like, "Is this the reality? You said we had one." And Strange is like, "If I told you, it wouldn't happen." And from right there, I knew that Tony was probably going. So all this hell breaks loose. Wasp and Ant-Man get to Lewis's vehicle, and they're trying to fix it. Captain Marvel comes down, slices through the ship, which was freaking badass. I'm really glad. And she goes to fight Thanos, and he headbutts her. He just doesn't move. And Thanos does this, and so she gets the gauntlet from Peter, and she tries to go through the car to return the stones, but then Thanos throws a sword at it and explodes it. And Thanos gets the gauntlet. He goes to snap, and then she grabs it, and she's looking at him, and then he's so smart because he has the gauntlet, and he looks at it. He picks the Power Stone up, holds it, and then punches Captain Marvel because he has the Power Stone. Sorry, my mom walked in. But anyway, so Tony's laying there, and he looks at Strange as, you know, Thanos is absorbing the Power Stone. And Strange basically holds up a one finger, which is, this is the one reality. And that's, if you didn't realize it, that's when a lot of people knew Tony was going. Tony goes and gets goes and attacks Thanos, so he gets hit away. Thanos goes to snap. He says, "I am inevitable." He snaps. No stones. Tony has all the stones. He says, "I am Iron Man," and he snaps. And all of Thanos' forces go away. The day is saved, but Tony is all, you know, destroyed on his right side of his body. Peter goes there, and he's like, "You know, Mr. Stark, you know, you did it. You're saved." And he starts crying. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And Pepper comes, and she basically says, "You know, you can rest now. We'll be okay." And Tony Stark dies. So that is a fitting conclusion to his arc. Because if you remember in Avengers 1, him and Cap are fighting, and Cap's like, "You wouldn't be the one to lay your life on the line to save everyone." And he does that at the end of Avengers 1, and he does that at the end of Endgame. And so they had this whole funeral, and that's one little gripe I have with this movie is I wish they would have included like a funeral for Natasha, because they had that little moment in the middle of the movie where, you know, they were all mad, but they didn't really, once everything was done, they didn't have like a funeral. But everyone is there, all the superheroes, and there's one kid that not a lot of people knew who it was. That is the kid from Iron Man 3, if you remember. And then you see Nick Fury at the end. He didn't have any lines, but he was there. And then you see basically Cap is going back to return all the stones to their spots. Hulk sends them, and then he's like, "All right, returning 3, 2, 1." Cap doesn't show up. Sam is like, "Bring him the hell back." But Winter Soldier smiles because you kind of figured that he went back to be with Peggy. And then you see an old man sitting on a bench. It's Captain America. You see a wedding ring. And he says, I decided to try some of that life that Tony told me about. And basically, he passes the shield on to Falcon. And so because remember, Falcon and Winter Soldier both become Captain America at certain points in the comics. But in the MCU, Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's kind of a leader, but Falcon's more of a leader than Winter Soldier. So now Falcon is our new Captain America, which I really like. But Cap doesn't die, which I'm really glad. Cap just lived his life. He got to dance with his girl and be with his girl, which I really liked. But that is Endgame, guys. I liked it more than Infinity War, but like both movies are incredible for the superhero genre and the MCU. This was a fitting conclusion. I really loved how they handled their characters in the arcs and how they split each character up. There is little things, here and there, like nitpicking, like, I don't know. But the jokes landed. I mean, I'm a fanboy of Marvel, so obviously I'm not going to hate a lot of things. But, I mean, there's little things you can nitpick. But overall, this was a very good movie. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to have some more, like, theory videos coming out here soon, especially with Loki and all that. So stick around. As always, this has been Reviews. Have a good one.